He's been trying to get in all this
Hey,
time.
welcome everybody to the gathering of the INE Network. We're talking about personal branding, and we did the main theory program last night. And tonight's kind of a lab discussion about what maybe some of those concepts really are. I've personally designated this as the personal branding month because I'm going to hit it really hard this month. And it's so fun to watch when you're thinking about a subject and then you start seeing more and more that shows up in that same direction. I wanted to show you a couple of posts that just came up yesterday and today. And, it's kind of interesting that when you're watching and paying attention, then all of a sudden this kind of stuff ends up in your life. And if you can somewhat sense that it's not just Lou's subject, it's not just major business subject, it's a constant ongoing thing that people just gradually are discovering more and more, that the thing you want to do is keep track of your personal reputation and how it's growing. And David Amerlin put this up yesterday. This is about a country. If a country has a reputation and political and economic position, then they have social infrastructure and assets. And this is what you then build a brand and reputation for a country. But he says in a person, those same elements could be loosely translated into behavior, status, social standing, belief systems, and skills. So we're talking about the same concept that you would brand a company, brand a country, brand an individual, because as you trade in the economy, it works better when you have your own individual brand. But this is where everybody gets hung up. We just don't understand how in the hell can I measure that and then improve and figure out how to improve it because I am measuring the success of it. If you took a quick measurement right now and said, well, my personal brand was pretty strong that last year, therefore I think I can improve it this year, without some way of measuring that, without some way of seeing that you've actually done something here that improved your marketplace position, it's going to be a second guess at best, isn't it? And if you can just somehow begin to look at that and say, all right, what I need to do then is take a little bit more time and be a little more diligent at trying to figure out what my brand is and then do something about it, okay? So let's go with questions and concerns or anything anybody thought last night. Anything you want to jump on when we first start tonight, or are we just going to kind of hash back through it? Not a question. That means I did a good job. I suspect the truth about branding, personal branding, is a very difficult subject. It's a concept that most people don't want to deal with, don't want to tackle, are gun shy. It's kind of feels like you're patting yourself on the back. But does that mean you still shouldn't be doing it? Yeah, Ed.
For me, I'm still too new to this game to really, be thinking real in depth about personal branding. However, I've been really paying attention to your lectures and everything, and how people are using it to, focus on a certain area, and like with Mel and Lance there. Mel's a lot into jewelry. Lance is into specialty gun stocks. Jay's into motorcycle parts. Deborah's into her cows and milk cans and stuff like that. But for me, I'm just really still learning the process and everything. So, I have a lot more to learn before.
And
I can get
you got the best excuse of everyone, Ed, because you are new. So it really is okay to be exactly where you are. To give an example, Ron Schneeberger and I were talking this morning, and when we first started on Google+, Ron and I have pretty good visits, and we were talking about his life, and one of the challenges for Ron Schneeberger is that last name of his. Schneeberger is not the easiest name to remember. It's not so bad to recognize, but it's quite difficult to remember. If you've met him once, then forgotten it, then it's really hard to bring it back up. And there are not many Schneebergers out there. And as we visited about that, one of the concepts we came up with was this idea that he's taken on initially was burger bites. Most people can remember a burger, and what Ron wants to do now, since his physical abilities have decreased so much, he wants to basically move in the direction of inspiration and encouragement, which is what he does. And so we came up with the idea of putting a hamburger in his banner and building his banner around burger bites and burgerisms, little tidbits that you can chew on. And yesterday he called me. we're just getting ready to change it because I don't think it's the very strong banner. I think he needs to upgrade and really improve that now. And he says, God, I don't know. He says, every time I get in, somebody says, oh yeah, I've seen Ron's the guy that has that hamburger behind his name. She's burgerisms. And he says, and I said, all right, now there's the perfect example we want to talk about, because he picked it out, we put it together, and we put it up, and guess what? People are beginning to buy about Ron Schneeberger. And so it's exactly like if I gave you a billboard alongside the I-15 corridor over here. 30 million people will see that billboard this year. And if you got that for free, what would you put up there? That's a brand is something they've got to see and remember in an instant. It can't be something that they have to sit down and figure out for any too long a time, because no one will do that. The brand is this quick identifying idea that is you. Out of 3 billion people playing on the internet now, there's just you. And your job is to separate yourself from all those other people. Go ahead.
If Ron put that billboard he has on the internet on a 40-foot by 30-foot billboard on I-15, everybody think he was a hamburger joint.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? And that's what we talked about. We thought that I don't think it's right. We did it on the spur of the moment. We went at it. It's just like you. You'll pick out something now, if you're wise. This next 2 months, you'll pick out something that begins to become your brand, and you'll put it up behind your banner, your profile, on your profile, and begin to go to work with it. And if you can then begin to see that it's doing you any good, then stay with it. If it's not doing any good, then come back and redo it.
I will, if Google will let me.
Yeah, Mel's kind of got himself in a bit of a jam. How many happy birthdays did you get today, Mel?
I got several.
Yeah, I bet. There's
I don't stop me on them.
There's so many up there. I just answered them all. I didn't know. I didn't realize you got. How many accounts have you got on Google Plus?
I don't know.
I don't even know.
But I've tried to change the picture of my profile several times, and it still comes up an error. It won't let me change it.
That's messy. That's not a good thing at all.
And I've contacted them, and they well, we'll try that, try this, try that, try this, and it doesn't work.
Still doesn't work. I wonder if you could
get
kill
that errors.
kill some of those extra accounts. If it's not misreading what's the primary account, maybe that's part of it. I don't know. You can go to the bottom of the profiles of each of those accounts, open them up, go clear to the end, and actually end that Google Plus account. Have you tried that? Keep the one you
No.
want. Keep the one you want, but go kill the other 2 or 3. Maybe that would improve it. There's got to be some way to fix it. Whether you go clear out and come back in and kind of reset it up. But I think to be able to improve it as you go is the greatest part of Google Plus. You can put a post up
I
and
agree.
then you edit the damn thing.
If they won't let you change your damn picture, you're stuck
It's tough.
with what you got.
It's really, really hard to deal with. Really hard to deal with. I just hope that the idea that you're working on something that more or less defines you. I think all of you saw Brenda Garrison's profile picture today.
Yep.
I sent her a private note and told her, I says, you got to get closer, Brenda. Your picture's too far away. It's too back. She's clear back in the image. And I said, we need to get your face up in your profile. And I nudge everybody's that way. Jason, who does the spoons, I did the same thing with him this morning because Jason's got a really nice new banner. His profile's fine, but it's still a little too far back. It's the whole idea is to be able to read your face quickly and easily, because that then becomes your icon. That starts to be what people begin to look for and identify you with what? Hopefully your banner. And all of this is the most interesting thing, because the highway over here on I-15 corridor, where there's a billboard that would cost you $1,000 a month to be there, now you got in front of half a billion people who are playing on Google Plus, and you can do that for free. And unless you're Mel, you can change it anytime you want.
Yeah, they kind of like that picture of me, I guess, with the blue shirt on.
Well,
But
Lou,
Yeah, Jay.
anytime I get a new, customer that comes by that I talk to or whatever, I'll ask them, how did you find out about me? How did you hear about me? How did you find me? Whatever and stuff. And I have 3 things that keep popping up. One is that they saw my deal on Google Plus, and they remember that picture of me bending over that motorcycle working on it, even though you can't see my face.
I know, and it's the
I'm
one
bending
I
over the
like.
motorcycle working on it.
It's the one I like too, Jay. It works. It works well.
2, they remember, they seen my logo that I use for my company, which is the Double Dragons.
Okay.
And 3, they would go in and say, like, just here for the Weatherford area, they would type in, engravers, Weatherford, Oklahoma, and I'm the only one that pops up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I know there's 3 other places in town that either does laser engraving, Kofi engraving, something like that. You
They're
just
not
type
there.
in engraving.
You are.
I'm who pops up.
The others are playing with the yellow pages.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we did this morning was Google has a whole new program now to put up a website for every city. So instead of waiting for the city to put up a website, Google is doing that for them. And then you get to put up you as a business in that city website. So if you go, I think it's called Go to Business, and look up your city, put your city in and roll it up. The Cabela's was listed, and Tammy and Russ are the only 3 that are even listed in that Google Plus medium now. Well, the idea is that they will get more and more and more people, more businesses represented on Google and in the search engines. And so I'm thinking, well, if Google's built that program, wouldn't you think that that's what they would want to nudge? Don't you think they would slant whatever they could in for you ahead of anything else that's kind of out there? And Tammy's got the wrong phone number in this morning, and I noticed I pulled it up, and it's got the wrong, it's their old oh, one of the services, cable services they had, put the wrong phone number in. I said, I can't think of a thing worse than a business than not being able to get to you. The phone number doesn't connect you. That's got to be just about the worst possible outcome of anything if someone goes looking for you. So go check your own areas, look at where you are, the city you're in, find the Google website that they built to begin to develop business projects. It was listed in Fortune magazine today, so it's a big deal. It's not just a small little thing. It's going to be a pretty big entity. So try and move in that direction, see if you can't find that connection. And if not, then I'll help you find it. Also notice today I reposted the picture of the guy that put the fire out with sound waves. Did you guys see that stupid thing? Is that the most brilliant? I just could have just made my mind go. I just thought, how long have we been fighting fire and no one ever thought of using sound waves before? And I'm going, oh.
But sound is very powerful.
Absolutely, and it does the job. I mean, right there in front of your eyes, and I think there's so much more out there that's just like that. You dig into your love, your passion, your interest, you're going to discover things that no one else ever thought of before. And to me, that's the hook, that's the fish hook hanging out in front of every one of you. That, yeah, I found the straight high-speed drill, but it was because I was a dentist, it was I was playing with eggshells, it was I was up to my eyeballs in that idea. But I refuse to believe that everybody can't have those same little brainwaves, those little moments of inspiration that hit you, that go, God, what if we did it this way? What if we did it that way? And then all of a sudden, who knows, the concept that literally reroutes the whole rest of your life shows up. And to me, that's worth going after. That's such a worthy goal. Such an important thing to go after. And the brand should be pretty close to whatever that is. Now, brands grow.
I create elegance.
You create what?
I create elegance in stainless steel.
Okay. Do you think there's a world more out there that you've not found yet related to that, Mel?
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
But they won't let me engrave. They won't let me engrave on knee replacements or hip replacements or anything like that.
I have a question.
Typical Mel Jones answer. Yeah, and
when we're talking about personal brands, are we talking about a significant icon that represents you and your work, or are we talking about maybe a saying or maybe an expression? You know, because there's a lot of things that can represent personal brands.
yes,
And so if like you know, is it something like say a picture of something, or like Mel, for an example, he uses jewelry. Okay, so is the jewelry itself the personal brand, or is it an expression that goes along with it?
let's talk about
like you were talking about a minute ago. You said Ron Smayberger put a hamburger icon in with his thing just to help people to remember his name. So that's why I'm kind of trying to figure out the difference here. If
you were Steve Covey and you had written a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it was an extremely successful book, and Steve Covey built his entire brand around 7 habits. Because it's been so successful, all you have to do is say 7 habits, and most people can put it together with Steve Covey. So Covey's kind of grew up underneath him. That, to me, is a really dangerous way to try and build a personal brand, is to just let it evolve. Yeah, I think what I've been trying to talk about and what these next two shows are going to be about. First one was the theory of the brand, which is your questions are perfect, Ed, for what it's supposed to do here. How? Because do you honestly think that Debbie Cornman's brand should be the same as Lance Larson's or Jose Valencia's or heaven forbid Ron Sneberger's? It isn't. It's different for every one of us. But it's more what I think you want to do is target what you want. I'm trying to play really hard now. I spent the last 4 or 5 years really digging at this very concept because I want my last 10, 15 years of my life to really, really count. To just flat matter as much as anything else that I've done. It feels like I've done my whole life to get to this point now. Now's the time to really stick the brand in place. And out of all the stuff I play with, the thing I like most is my innovative opportunity slant, looking for innovation, looking for opportunity when others might not see it, which is the definition of the drill, the definition of the eggshell carving, the kits that we've put together, the I&E network. There's an whole culture around that. But out of all of that, what I prefer the most is creativity and innovative thinking. So that is the brand I'm going to establish. That's the way I'm going to take it. I'm going to hit that nail on the head and keep hitting it on the head till I'm dead and gone. And so when you begin to find, I talked a lot about this threads of interest yesterday. The thing that you really have invested a lot in your life in already. Debbie is up to her eyeballs in the dairy industry. I can't imagine her taking on another whole new direction for her career. I just think that would be a horrible mistake. But for Debbie to not see that there's like the turning out of the fire with sound waves, to realize that she is sitting really close to a concept that could put her so distinctly out there in the marketplace that she already has played with for so many years. Deb's an accomplished decorative painter, and I'm not sure how people see that or register it. Do you think, Debbie, most of your customers think of you as a decorative painter?
Yes, some do. Yeah.
A lot of those.
Yeah.
And
then there's some. I try to say that I'm a fine artist, and I keep repeating it so they understand that. Because in the decorative art field, the fine art people don't have a very good perception of the decorative art people. The decorative art people are less, supposedly less than, because they're not original. We have the decorative art people developed a way of taking the art and making it into patterns and processes that you can teach other people to do it. Where the fine art people are supposed to think out in the air and it just appears on the canvas or whatever. And I do both. So I blend the two together.
Well, I sent a post to Jason Weymouth, the kid that does the spoons. You see his stuff all the time. I sent him one this morning talking to him about, if I were him, my counsel to him would be to go after the art of the spoons, not the crafting of the spoons. His stuff is a really good reproduction. He's careful. He does good work. He's got the craftsmanship down. But I think he sells the wrong thing. He's trying to sell the spoon. And if Jason could turn them into an art piece and make just those, he would change how he's doing business. I told him to dream up a set of spoons, kitchenware, for Oprah Winfrey, like Sam Maloof did with the rocking chair. I mean, think how many rocking chairs have been made in the history in the last 500 years. And yet Sam Maloof still came up with something different, something new, something that was just the Sam Maloof rocking chair. Now, I don't think that's an accident, and I don't think it's only one person can do that. I think it's when you go after that. When you set your heart, your mind, and your direction on, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to have something that I become famous for. And I don't care. Like I've told Ron can't do the custom engraving much now. His back is gone, and his health is giving him fits. And I says, you need to do this book in the direction of an e-book first and test the water a little bit. And he's got another one with his wife's poetry. He's got about 3 books brewing now, and I says, let's get those fuckers done, and we'll go out and promote the hell out of them and see what we can generate and begin to make as counsel becomes Ron Snaberger's counsel, and advice becomes his break. So to answer the question, Ed, I know all the way around the mulberry bush, I still think can be any combination of whatever's visible. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So to me, there was a post today about some clinic, some university that's discovered now when you put things into your brain, when you see a word and put it into your brain, what you really store it in is a picture. And I kind of think that's how it works, really do. I think graphic images, it's why streams, these electronic social media streams have become so great, is because you can stick graphics in there and say 1,000 words with every picture.
Dr. Lou?
Yes,
I just on my perspective as being in the dairy industry, the dairy folks, the registered dairy folks that I work with, they also do their personal branding, and they do it through their text that they use for their farm name.
Okay.
In other words, our family farm name is Just a Beauty, so we have a specific font and small diagrams. Some people have there's names out there that have trees in it, or they'll have a cow and a tree. They'll use Old English fonts. They'll use 2 colors. They'll use 3 colors in their it's called a logo, and they promote that when they do their advertising and when they go to the cow shows. That logo goes with them everywhere. Brand. It's on their shirts, it's on their sweatshirts, it's on their hats, and then when you see it in the publications, people see the logo, and that's their brand, because then all their cows are named with that name when they go to register their cows.
Once it's been seen and locked in somebody's brain, then re-seeing it triggers everything related to that.
Recognition. In other words, our cattle are all named Just a Beauty something something. So when we go to show, or if we sell an animal that has Just a Beauty on it, people recognize Just a Beauty as the Kornman family. Kornman's not in the word, it's Just a Beauty is in the word, but everybody associates Just a Beauty with the Kornman family name.
Okay. Now, I don't like to have artists do that, because I still think your greatest asset in your artist life is your name.
Well, I agree there. And it's just that I was just trying to give an example of how that's done.
How an industry uses it. I don't think you can buck the industry much. I have a friend in Massachusetts that had a farm called Back a Bit Farms, and he loved it. He had put a ton into that and had the same graphics, artwork, everything, logo done and everything, and it was his thing, Back a Bit Farms, and it's cute, it's clever. And if it can work, then so be it. Jump on it and go for it. The thing that I'm nervous about is most people don't do it by design. They just, if they get a brand at all, that's all they have and all they work for. Ken Brown is probably the best example we have in our entire circle of people. You see Ken Brown's name with that quill feather stuck down through it. It's a calligraphy looking kind of thing, and you usually can remember who Ken Brown is and what he does just by seeing that image. And it's been sold, every hobby store in the world has sold Ken Brown stuff for 35 years, and that brand, he would never move away from it, not now. It's just too significant, too strong. All of you, I think, are looking for that. You're trying to figure out, okay, now what do I want to promote with, and how can I make that work? So, other questions? As each of you begin to see the importance of trying to find and then hone in on your brand a little more, what is it that you want to be famous for, and how might that work in the economy? Lance?
Just had kind of a question. You know, more than anything, as you know, I like doing the gun stocks more than anything. But sometimes you got to try a few other things to get a feel for it. But as you know, I'm going to this big banquet, a fundraising banquet for SCI, and I've already got the design and everything together for that carved gift certificate. But something came to me last night as you were talking. And I wanted to see if I've got the right feel on some of the things you gave away to big wigs. And it seems to me, and I'm going to talk to them, that when you got a big chapter like this, I'm sure some higher mucky muck from the the national board or whatever is going to be there, you know, as a guest.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And get with the president, try to get with the president in the next week to 2 weeks and see if there's we could do something that I can carve that they can give to him as a gift. That's the kind of concept you're talking about, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would do. That's what I have done.
Because that's how I get my name from here in Phoenix to the national.
To the national committee. And what it is you want them to think of terms of you, Lance, as an artist, not as a gun stock carver.
Exactly.
You really shoot yourself in the foot when you step up and say, well, who are you and what do you do? So I'm Lance Larson and I'm a gun stock carver. That's low perception of value. That's not got the same hammer as artists. And so Lance Larson Studio, I'm a custom engraving artist. Boy, that changes everybody's tune in a hurry.
I changed my embroidery on my shirts to Lance Larson Studio, custom carving artist.
Yeah.
That's a start. I don't know if that's right yet.
Well, I don't know exactly either, but it's just something you really have to do.
Shirts wear out. I'll get new ones, so I'll have to change it somewhere. But that's just the start.
That's what you got to try. Ron's still trying to get in, so let me send him another invite here for a minute and see if we can still sneak that old boy in here. I guess he doesn't like me talking about him behind his back without him.
Maybe.
You think? You think? Well, to me, the fun part is being able to literally think about it. I think we've raised your awareness. You're paying more attention to it than perhaps you have. And 90% of humanity, 95% of humanity never even goes. They know the word and that's it. It's as far as they get into it. And I think unless you're thinking about it, unless you're giving it a try and constantly paying attention to it, you're going to end up on the short end of the business marketing stick because it's just huge when it comes to remembering you.
Is that why you encourage us to find a specialty or a kind of niche that that we like you were saying a little bit earlier tonight and last night as well, something that we like or something that we've been used to doing, if that's at all possible, through the years, and then that becomes part of our brand.
I mean, at our point in life, Ed, none of us have got enough life where we can go back and build 30, 40 years into who we are. We've got to go more with what we've already gained, the knowledge and the interest and the skills. That's like David Amerlin's, that one picture I showed at the beginning of the show tonight. David's talking about skills was the last thing that's up there. And I'm going, well, what have you done your whole life? And is there a way to repackage that and present that into the marketplace as something of value that you then can trade? When we first started out, we'd sell people kit and then just turn you loose to go get your own business card and come up with your own clever name for your business and everything. And we got everything you can imagine for names. I mean, it was just clear off the damn wall. And 90% of the time, they would list on the other side of the card, they'd have their name over here, and then they would have how to get in touch with them. On the back of the card, they'd put custom engraving of glass, metal, wood, stone, bone, eggshells, wedding engraving, hot rod engraving, gun stock carving, they just listed this whole damn menagerie of things that they could do, because they were thinking, well, what I'm doing is looking for business in all of those areas. And the more I studied that, and the more Jack and Woody got involved with it, the more that the worst thing you can do is to fill it up so much. If you're trying to trade everything but the kitchen sink, that generally all that does is confuse people. And the more you're trying to trade with the more upscale customer, if you hook branding, pricing, and branding and upscale marketing, these last series of shows of mine, almost the common thread through that whole thing is stick to what you like most, and then let's turn that into who you become. Turn that into who your brand is. And then now, see, Jose's been also a gunstock carver. His book was done about carving gun stocks. Then he started doing custom engraving, calligraphy engraving to help sell products, and he's done extremely well at that in the Phoenix area. And so now his brand has shifted a little there. And then when he got this really big piece last year, it's really shifted for him now a lot. So Jose's got to really kind of rethink the whole game plan now. What's he going to go after? Which way is he ultimately going to try and make it work out? Ron Schneeberger, that's typical. Apple guys come in completely upside down. That's normal.
Well, I'm here, but I don't. I'm only part of the program's on, but at least I can hear you.
Yeah, you're here. We can see you.
Well, that's good because I can't see my avatar or anybody else's, but I'm on.
It's just upside down.
Yeah, you're coming in completely
Yeah,
upside
you're
down.
definitely upside down.
Now you got hair on the top of your head.
Am I upside down still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what to do about it because like, nothing's working, it seems like, but at least this part.
Well, it's because you got an iPhone, Ron. I keep trying to help you guys figure this out, but
And you know, Ron,
owners are the most hard-headed bunch of people I've ever run into. They just will not look at anything else.
Am I still
Yeah.
upside
Pay those
down?
unholy prices.
now.
I mean,
and that's
No,
why we
okay.
do things like this.
what's that, Mel?
I said, and that's why we do things like this.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Am I right side up now or not?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You did it. What did you do?
Just turn my phone upside down.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, okay, folks.
Smartphone.
I think
Well-
we better go back to how smart is the phone compared to how smart is the owner.
It's
I was going to stand on my head, but that would have been a little too difficult for me.
That would have been interesting. Yeah, that would
yeah,
have
it's
been.
product branding, right?
Now, hey, Doc, when you were saying a minute ago about people that put everything on the back of their card because they're looking for business, doesn't that kind of say, you know, I'm a jack of all trades, but I'm a master of none?
Absolutely.
And so
is
that
it on
kills
the
your
money.
artist. That kills your artist prospect right there.
Automatically,
because you're
shut
not-
yourself down.
Yeah, because you're not specializing in anything, and all you're doing is saying, I can do everything. Well, yeah, you can, but you're kind of killing yourself.
Now, it's a little different in the need world than it is in the want world here, what we're talking about.
Right.
When you see a kid going down the trailer he's got his trailer up and he's a plumber, and he has the plumbing problems that people face listed on the side of his trailer or on the back of the trailer that says, if your drain's stopped, call us. And there's a lot of plumbers that list everything that they do. There's a lot of electricians that list everything that they do. Their primary areas. Custom contractors or exclusive builders. But the more you get up in the economy, the less you'll see that. The higher places in the economic trading game are always very, very specialized and always very, very targeted. They're the ones who make the real money in the economy, not the jack of all trades. So, yep, that's perfect.
Well, Ed, you're in a position now where you've got to try everything.
Yeah, you're looking for you're looking at the whole rainbow right now.
Yeah, I kind of realized that. I have to experiment with a little bit of everything just to find out, you know, which way to go. But once I find which way to go, then like Dr. Lou said, I need to, to specialize in something or
specializing more and more.
go from there.
Sure. and
But
the more
yeah, right now I'm so new that I would really need to I need to stick my foot in each of the pots just to find out which one of the pots is going to feel good.
I've always felt, Ed, that there's one area that I preach a lot, and that's this threads of interest stuff. To me is really interesting, because what you kind of like already is a pretty good indicator of which way should you perhaps go. I'm not going to ask how many of you have got electronic digital community set up yet, but if you don't and you're still playing with your iPhone, damn it, get that done. Go to my community for doing that and figure out how to set it up and get it done. And then bother to put the things that you're interested in, the images and the quotes and the things you see on the web every damn day on Google+, put them in that one place, that digital journal, electronic journal. It's once you learn how to use it, it's a slam dunk fast affair. There's nothing to do in it. But you got to put it in there to have something that you can then come back and scan. And if I sat down with you and showed you everything that I posted in my digital electronic journal this year, God, it's cool. It's just the stuff that I like. It's the stuff that I play with. It's who I am as a person. And I'm pleased with that, because that reinforces what I'm doing and helps you to see more of the pathway of what you maybe ought to play with. So this personal interest thing, you've lived all your life to get to where you are now. And if you measure yourself right now and say, okay, in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 years you've got left, what most would you want to get done? And gosh, is that better stay very close to something that's kind of been an itch of yours all your life long. I mean, Keith got turned on to woodworking when he was high school, and it's never changed.
Raise her hand.
Huh?
Joni's trying to raise her hand.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead, Joni.
Sorry, Lou. My problem is, now, the only thing I know that I truly did love right from the beginning is paintings, doing scenes and all that sort of thing. But then when I got hooked up with you guys and got into carving, into wood, into glass, into eggs, all of it, I love it all.
Okay.
Now, how the heck can I it's all, if it's a challenge, I want to do it.
Okay.
So I don't know how.
Could not maybe you brand the idea that when you're challenged by it, that's then what you like to do. You know how many people there are out in the economy, Joni, that are just like you? Same thing appeals to them. You tell them they can't do it, and they'll practically knock themselves out trying to figure out how to do it. And I'm going, well, that's a concept, Joni. That's a concept that could trade with an awful lot of people, because you could say, well, that's how I pursued it. It's like if it was a challenge and it was difficult, then that's the way that I went. And looking for what could you carve out of that, what could you have out of that. I still would like to see you use carving and painting together, to where you use everything you've gained in the oil painting world matched with what you've done with carving. If you see what Robin's doing and how Robin has enhanced Craig Holmes' carving, that's exactly what she's done. She put painting skills into Craig Holmes' work, and none of us had done that before.
That is true. I have really been interested in what she's doing.
Oh, Lord, you should be. Yeah, it's your thing.
I started learning how to, her first, I got the DVD on the staining and the painting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's dramatic. It's making such a huge difference. I have enough
years left to become something good.
Well, I still am trying to get those of us that are a little further along, Joni. We don't have the time that the younger kids have. We really do need to zero in on something. And Ron's gone now, but I'm just pushing Ron harder than anybody right now because Ron needs to get his book of motivation written. He's a motivator. He's an inspirer. He's an encouraging kind of guy. He spends all day, every day doing that. He's getting a tremendous amount of mileage, and I know if Ron had a book that was zeroed in on a concept, he's come up with this UBU. Capital U, capital B, capital U, UBU. Well, this morning in our discussion, I said, why don't you make it UB better U? So the U would, and then the B, and then put a better in there, because that's what most of us are wrestling with. Is we're ordinary individuals, except we're trying to step on it up into an extraordinary kind of category, and we live our whole lives trying to. Oh, I don't know if I ought to do that. I don't think I ought to do that. I'm going, oh, please don't think that way. Come back to it and just be willing to stand up on the stage and say, you know what? This is what I've learned. This is what I love. This is what I'm passionate about. And let's package that and then see if we can't promote each other in marketing that to the whole Google Plus world. I think that is that coming across? Are you guys hearing what I'm suggesting there?
I think so.
I think it's a little subtle, but there's sides to it that if you've been listening and you like something all your life, God, shouldn't you package that and try and sell it? I think you should. I think it's a really, really worthy adventure. Jay's got one of the more interesting stories we've ever had as we've sold equipment and been a company, Jay, for 30 years. Coming from the point of almost gone, literally just in the worst of circumstances, to found something that turns you on and to have gone after it enough that it's beginning to improve your health and opening up all kinds of doors of opportunity for you. You're writing a story that is going to be really, really, really profound for an awful lot of people as you mature that story. And it won't be any different than what I did, Jay. The second I had people start asking me to learn to do what I was doing, I did just like you did, but I was peddling carved eggshells. So you've at least got a product and a concept that has a little sanity to it. Carved eggshells is just damn near the dumbest product that ever walked into the marketplace.
Well, I don't know. With some of the people I deal with, I don't know how much sanity is there, but.
Well, the entire economy's crazy, Jay. Haven't you figured that out yet?
Oh, yeah. I guess that's why I fit in so well. So.
Look at his pup right behind his shoulders. What's the dog's name?
Her name's Missy Moo.
Missy Moo?
Yep. She's not doing real good today. She ended up having to go see the vet today. Got poked in the backside a couple of times. So.
She's just relaxing then. Well, I didn't mean to disturb you, Missy Moo, but I thought that's a clever shot. That's a fun. But you can sense, Jimmy, how your story is growing and maturing, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And all you do is say, okay, now what I want to do is work on upscale marketing. I want to try and target my efforts by branding and upscale marketing. I'm going to try and improve and play with pulling my prices up this year. Those are the concepts we talk about during the shows, because those are business ideas.
Well, it's just like I had a guy ask me one time at a bike rally. He was sitting there, standing in front of my booth, looking at some of the things I had there, and he looked at it, he goes, okay, he goes, I see this stuff, he goes, but exactly what really is it that you do? And the first, I just kind of, said the first thing that came into my mind off the top of my head, and I just looked at him and I said, I take things that are moped ordinary and make them Harley Davidson extraordinary.
Oh, that's good. That is a good line. That is a really good line. And when it works like that, you stumble onto it, then it just gets more and more fun the more you use it.
That needs to go on a banner, Jay. That needs to go on a banner behind you.
Yeah. That
You
ought
ought
to
to put
be
that on
your,
the business card there,
that's
Jay.
across your shoulders, like I do. Having a good time is my job on my shirts. That's what you should put on the yoke of your shirts, Jake. That's
I'll have to think
extremely
about
good.
that one.
Yeah, that really is good. And I think, but they come to you. You're searching and you're looking and you're trying to find your way. And I'm so determined to change this innovative thing around because, and I get to preach just a little bit more here for a minute because I think literally there's way more going on in this world than any of us realize. Way more. And everyone who contributed to the RNA and DNA of you, your ancestors, as far back as you want to look, all lived their lives and passed on that RNA and DNA. Or you wouldn't be here today. That is a for sure. But what's mixed into the RNA and DNA is these interests that we have, that ancestors like this, and they like this, and they like this. I mean, I'm so far into engraving and silver and stuff, and I pull up anything in Denmark with Grandpa, I get all this silver-related artsy kind of thing, and I go, I will be one shocked turkey to get to the other side and find out that we didn't have ancestors that came down through all these years, centuries, that had these precious threads of interest. Now, if that's true, and they're still out there somehow, don't you think they would be interested in your life? You're the one that's carrying the torch now that they passed on, that they bothered and struggled with. And if these signals can be sent at all from people that have already passed on that have a blood relationship to you, that's where ideas come from. You get these aha moments. There's not a one of us who's had a great idea that doesn't say it came to me. Frack damn came to me. And if you say, okay, then that's what I want, is that same kind of unearthing, if you will, or birthing of a concept that then literally becomes the course for the remaining part of your life. And I have a lot of people that argue with me that don't think that that's reality, but I think they're wrong. I think that is exactly how it works. Yeah, Lance.
Well, if that kind of stuff is passed down, I'm sure my ancestors must have been the ones that carved the heads on the Viking ships then.
Yeah, I think so too, Larson. I'm absolutely convinced of that. See, we were Hansons, Jens Hansons. There used to be Hansons in early Denmark, and then the one dad changed the name from Jens Hansen to Hans Jensen. And that's where Jensen's came from. And I thought, boy, that's a weird little twist of fate. That would be really hard to track. So basically, if they say they're a Jensen, they don't really know who they are. Larson, Hansen, Jensen, Peterson, whatever. I don't think Abel's, and I'm not sure Corman's in that same crowd. Joins, where's Mel Joins? What's your nationality of your last name, Mel?
Welsh.
Welsh.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're all in the same neighborhood, though, aren't we? What's your maiden name, John? Your mic's off. Your mic's off.
My background comes from German, Sanger, S-A-E-N-G-E-R, with two umlauts over the A, and I also have Irish. My mother was Irish.
Okay.
But they're all gone.
We're all in this group tonight. We're all European in descent, so.
We're all Celts.
Probably so. Well, I think we're starting into it. We pushed it pretty hard tonight again because it still is a complicated, fairly thorny subject. And you'll hear everybody say, well, this is what a brand is, this is what a brand is, this is what a brand is. They put out their tongue and I go, it's more complicated than that. It's something that really does require that you stay with and go after this specialization thing. When Keith did the squirrel, carved the squirrel, and that stupid squirrel coming out of the block of wood created more stir than anything else he had done up to that point in his life. So going after this release look became a home thing. And they've all done it. They've all made a tremendous amount of money peddling the concept of released carving. And Darwin, I tried to get Darwin to carve a wagon coming out of a block of wood, and then the wagon's out in front of that as if it were carved completely out of one individual piece. Did you guys see posted on Google Plus the chair? They had a kid that had done a complete rocking chair out of a single piece of wood too. So that's what I'm talking about, something that's extremely new and different and unique. And if you keep worrying about replicating anything that everyone else has done, then you never step out of that mold into something that really truly is original. So push for that. Make that your goal this year. Make that something that you're going to come up with your background and the things you like and produce something really, really new. Yeah, Joni?
The one thing that I have often thought about is I love to paint sceneries and things like that. That has always been since I was a very young girl. And then I got into the wood part, and I love it, and I think it's great. And I've often wished that I could carve a scenery and then paint it like I would with oils.
Okay.
Well, why don't you?
Because I don't know how.
Sure you do.
You spent all night telling us that you're the person that likes to figure things out that you don't know how to do. So
Yeah.
make that now this year's quest.
You just carved that deer head on that gun stock and painted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing a scenery is the same process.
Yeah.
Exact same effort. It works the exact same way.
I think I could do the painting of it, but it's on the carving of it. I think that if you don't do it just right, it may not, I don't know. It just seems a little difficult. I don't know how to approach it.
Practice, practice, practice. Try every different angle you can try. It's fun.
Yeah. And you can't make a mistake.
Yeah, you don't have to show anybody until you're happy.
Because it's your creation.
Yeah. I'm going to get it, Chet. I've been thinking about it a great deal.
You said earlier, Joni, that you like the challenge. So here's your challenge.
Joni, go on to Google Plus for the next week and pick out every graphic image of a scene that you prefer, that you like, and screen capture it and put it over in one place where you can then go back through and look and say, okay, what I'm going to do is find the scene that I want to replicate. Okay, and once that scene shows up, then you start saying, okay, how would I do that? Now, I think it sounds to me like you outline cut it in layers, and it should carve and shape the very furthest in the perspective. In each different area of perspective, as you move forward in the image, carve and paint, and then assemble it just like you would a diorama.
Yeah.
And make it a 6-inch deep graphic carved panel, but do it in 3/8 or 1/4-inch pieces of wood. That might work really, really well.
Well, I've been thinking about it a great deal, so I may just go ahead and try it.
See, that's the substance of the entire sit-down session tonight. If it keeps coming to you, damn it, you're supposed to do it. That's how this works. When it shows up, it'll show up, and it'll show up, and it'll show up, and it'll go, and that's all it's truly nudging you. Go that way. Allow that to work in your life and make it an impact for you.
Yeah.
All right, troops. I am really worn out tonight. We'll catch up with you now. Next Wednesday is the theory. We did the theory this week. Next Wednesday's the making of the brand. And so stay with it now. Don't back off here. Really improve your personal branding position in these next 3 weeks. Good night, everybody.